Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. Big breaking developments. There's an update on Operation Sindoor because a marathon debate is all set to take place in the Parliament, because in the lower house of the Parliament, Lok Sabha, 16 hours have been allocated for discussion on Operation Sindoor. And in the Rajya Sabha, the debate will go on for 9 hours. Of course, needless to say, expect fireworks as the government and the opposition now lock horns over the military operation. Operation Sindoor, at least 16 hours allocated in the lower house of the Parliament for a special marathon debate and discussion on Operation Sindoor. At least 9 hours demarked for a special discussion on Operation Sindoor in the Rajya Sabha, that's the upper house of the Parliament. Earlier in the day, there was cacophony in the well of the House. In the lower house, the opposition members of Parliament demanding a discussion on Operation Sindoor. News9's input editor, Brijesh Pandey, now joins us on the broadcast here. Brijesh, earlier in the day, we had all the opposition members of Parliament, especially Rahul Gandhi, saying we wanted to discuss Operation Sindoor, but they do not let us speak. But now it's been quite clearly, time has been allocated for it. 16 hours in the Lok Sabha, 9 hours in the Rajya Sabha.
Absolutely, because, ever since, for a long time now, the opposition has been saying that the government is not coming clean as far as the brass tacks of Operation Sindoor is concerned. They were also demanding explanation from the government on regular statements given by United States President Donald Trump about how he brokered peace between India and Pakistan, and also said, the last statement said that 5 fighter jets went down. So the Congress was demanding explanation from the government. They were saying that, there was no need for question hours today. The question hours should be done away with for the day, and immediately a discussion should start from on this particular issue, which is of extreme national importance. I think the government also had to, try to convey to them, we saw Rajnath Singh is getting up in the Lok Sabha and saying that, that they are ready for any kind of discussion. We just have to wait for the proper procedure to take place. The government is aware that it cannot be seen on the back foot, and that is the reason why the government has stated in the House that there's going to be a 16-hour discussion, 16 hours allocated for discussion in the lower house, as well as 9 hours in the Rajya Sabha. Remember, Kabir, today when the Prime Minister started, as it happens with before the start of every single session of Parliament, the Prime Minister made a mention of Operation Sindoor, also spoke about the bravery of Indian Army and how the armed forces achieved their target in flat 22 minutes and all. So one thing is very clear, that the government feels that that they have nothing to hide, and they would want to give their side of explanation. While on the other side, the Congress feel that a lot needs to be explained. Especially, they would want to embarrass the government as to other than the claim of the government that it was the Pakistani DGMO who approached Indian DGMO, they would want to know, is Donald Trump the person who is behind brokering this peace deal as far as India and Pakistan is concerned?
You're absolutely right. And we've seen it time and again, be it, the train tragedies that the Parliament has discussed, the Wayanad natural disaster that the Parliament has discussed. So many of these big marathon debates and discussions, Brijesh, they end up, shaping up the narrative for the upcoming elections as well. So it's going to be, a high stakes battle for both these sides now. We're expecting some, oratory stalwarts from both sides to come and put forth their ideas and viewpoints.
Oh, absolutely. I think, the Prime Minister would definitely want to use this, as well as the BJP, to use these 16 hours to set forth a narrative which would not only answer questions raised by the opposition party, but would also set the narrative as far as all important elections in the state of Bihar is concerned. And that is the reason why the government would like to go all guns blazing. But the opposition is also aware of the kind of, the political fallout of this discussion, 16 hours discussion, which will take place in the Lok Sabha. And they would also want to pin the government on the fact that, what exactly led to this brokering of peace. The government, the opposition party has been saying that while on one hand, all the opposition parties stood united with the government, they said that it was, very unbecoming of Prime Minister to not have attended even a single such meeting. So, you can very easily expect a lot of fireworks going on as far as this discussion is concerned.
And, also, it's going to be a little bit of a, tricky slope for the opposition to climb right now because, Brijesh, when it comes to matters of national security, we've seen it time and again that, national unity takes precedence. We've seen it in the case of Shashi Tharoor. We've seen it how the opposition parties also came together. The Prime Minister also, in that opening speech, said, thanked all the members of Parliament for coming together and keeping party politics aside when it came to a matter of national importance. But these opposition parties will have to be asking the right kind of questions, but make sure that national unity is not hurt, because that's again going to come, as a little bit of a rap on their knuckles when they're trying to shape their own narrative.
Well, I think it's going to be extremely tricky for the opposition party because, they need to ask probing questions of the government without being seen as someone who's trying to nitpick on the issue of national importance, because, this is one area which is a very slippery slope as far as fashioning narrative in any particular election is concerned. You remember 2019 was one such incident. So the opposition would be careful, but the opposition, as the way they have been going about, whether it is downing of fighter jets or whether, it was Donald Trump who brokered peace between India and Pakistan, they feel that, that they can try to pin down the government, or they can at least ask probing questions about, why the government lied about whether there were any fighter jets which were down or not. What is the number of fighter jets who were downed by either by Pakistan or were they downed in the crash, or what exactly led to those crash? And also the fact that they would say that why is government not coming clean and trying to tell us about how the entire peace process happened? Because the big thing is, and that is going to be the clincher, I guess, Kabir, is that the opposition is saying that if we are in such a big advantageous position, then why did India enter into any kind of as the term which was used, cessation of hostility with Pakistan? They felt that this was the time when they could have gone on all guns blazing and they could have achieved a monumental victory. So why did India stop, and why is it that that it was President Donald Trump and others from Pakistan who announced the ceasefire, declaration of ceasefire even before India could? So I think that is one area which would be slightly tricky for the government as well, as to about why did they stop when they were in such superior position.
You're absolutely right. And not just the opposition. I think the government of the day in their answers also will have to be very careful as to where they're stepping what foot.